Hello everyone, good morning. Is everyone still sleepy? Not sleep off if the lights are off here. Alright, I need a thumbs up from my buddies. Are your MOs here? Official buddies. I see 1, 2, 3, 4. Where's Anna? Buddies? Anna, buddies. Alright, good to start. The chair would like to call this meeting to order at 8:26 a.m., 6th of August, Nepal time. Hello everyone, welcome to GA4. And the first order of business on the agenda today is the roll call, and that will be GC.
I also, he always comes up like spontaneously with this. Yeah. What should we say? Oh, by the
Sudan IVSA Exco, meeting number 45. Hi, good morning everyone. So to do our roll call today, I would like to have everyone say breakfast into your mother tongue when your MO's name are called upon, okay? All right. Thank you. IVSA Australia.
Bracky.
IVSA China. IVSA Czech Republic. IVSA Denmark. IVSA Germany. IVSA Ghana.
Breakfast.
IVSA Greece. IVSA Hungary.
Regali.
IVSA India.
Nasta.
IVSA Indonesia.
Sarapan.
IVSA Italy. IVSA Latvia. IVSA Malaysia.
Nasi lemak.
IVSA Morocco. IVSA Nepal. IVSA Pakistan. IVSA Peru. IVSA Republic of Korea. IVSA Serbia. IVSA Slovakia. IVSA Slovenia. IVSA Sweden. IVSA Taiwan. IVSA Thailand. IVSA the Netherlands. IVSA Turkey.
Kahvaltı.
IVSA United Kingdom.
Breakfast.
All right, everyone. So we have 52.94% of attendance with the 40% of minimum quorum met. The GA can be proceeded.
Nice. And now the first point on the agenda today is nominations for the Executive Committee 2026-2027. Do we have nominations? Seeing none, nominations are now closed and will open again tomorrow at GA5. Nominations for chairs of standing committees and networks for 2026-2027. Do we have any nominations? Ivan?
Nepal IVSA Indonesia building number 38. I would like to nominate Polanio Temilade from IVSA Nigeria chair for WEAN.
Do we have anyone to accept on their behalf? Alberta?
Alberta Afran IVSA Ghana, bidding number 28X.
Thank you. Please make sure that you have all the details of the candidate, including their name, phone number, email, so that you can provide it to the election committee. Also ask this person for their second choice as well. Do we have, no, sorry, not for them, sorry, for Exco. Do we have any other nominations? Anna?
Honorable IVSA Serbia, bidding number 59. I would like to nominate Papa Francis Opili for the chair of SCOM.
Before I ask someone to accept on the behalf, there was a membership issue with this person. We have election committee.
John Jan IVC Ghana bidding number 6. So unfortunately he cannot be verified as an IVSA member, so no nomination holds.
So I would request the previous speaker to get details of membership from this person, because this person also contacted me regarding the nomination, but he could not verify his membership because he changed countries for education. Anyway, are there any other nominations? Dua?
Dar Manamithi, bidding number 56, IVSA Morocco. I would like to nominate Ayushma Pokhran from IVSA Nepal for the position of pathology network.
Is Ayushman here?
It's the same number?
No,
Ayushma Pokhran.
No, I'm asking if they're here or if someone's there to accept on their behalf. Mia? No, Mia? I picked the people.
Mia Delegate, IVSA Serbia, bidding number 57. I accept the behalf.
Thank you. Are there any other nominations?
Muhammad Abdul IVSA Pakistan bidding number 10. I would like to nominate Abdul Wahab Muhammad Karomi from IVSA Nigeria for SCOM chair.
We have anyone to accept on their behalf? Bad.
Beat Edmondowska, IVSA Latvia, bidding number 66. I accept on their behalf.
Okay, John?
John Jan IVSA Ghana bidding number 6. He has already been nominated.
Okay, do we have a clarification on what they want to choose? Sorry, I did not know that. Okay, we don't need to accept the nomination again. Do we have any other nominations? Diana?
Diana Großmann, IVSA Germany, bidding number 68. I would like to nominate as a chair of the Standing Committee for Animal Welfare, Muhammad Ali Mustafa from IVSA Nigeria.
Do we have anyone to accept on their behalf? Peter.
Peter Nicholas, IVSA Denmark, bidding number 14. I accept on their behalf.
Thank you. Are there any other nominations? Seeing none, nominations are now closed and will open again tomorrow. Nominations for regional representatives 2026-2027. Do we have any nominations? Yes.
Julian Hansen, IVSA Germany, bidding number 74. I would like to nominate Ulla from Italy, IVSA Germany for European representative.
And
Ömer Parkkaran, IVSA Turkey, bidding number 31, I accept.
are there any other nominations for this year? Diana?
Diana Grossmann, bidding number 68 from IVSA Germany. I would like to nominate Deborah Boadiva from IVSA Ghana for the representative of the Sub-Saharan African region.
Do we have anyone to accept on their behalf? Yeah.
Mia Galovic, IVSA Serbia, bidding number 57, I accept on their behalf.
Are there any other nominations? Seeing none, nominations are now closed and will open again tomorrow. Nominations for the Secretariat 2026-2027. Do we have any nominations? Wow, bunch of hands. Yes, new hand.
I am Pancho from IVSA Thailand, bidding number 44. I would like to nominate Antonio Peros from IVSA India for secretary.
Do we have anyone to accept on his behalf? Yes, I see a new hand up. IVSA Latvia. I'm sorry, I do not know everyone's names.
Nikola Ozan, IVSA Latvia, bidding number 55. I accept on their behalf.
Are there any other nominations? IVSA Serbia.
Katarina Kamfer, IVSA Serbia, bidding number 35. I would like to nominate Ashley Harris from IVSA Australia for the secretariat.
Ashley.
Ashley Harris, IVSA Australia, bidding number 83. I accept.
Are there any other nominations? Yes.
Yogadashni Peter Burma from IVSA Malaysia, bidding number 81. I'd like to nominate Maithili Gaikwad from IVSA India.
Do we have anyone to accept on her behalf? Ankit?
Ankit Patil, IVSA India, bidding number 33, I accept on their behalf.
Are there any other nominations? We also have Ritika.
Ritika Reddy, IVSA India, bidding number 23. I would like to nominate Rishi Menon from IVSA India for the position of secretary.
Do we have anyone to accept on his behalf? Dua.
Zara Hanamuti, bidding number 56. IVSA Morocco. I accept on his behalf.
Are there any other nominations? Yes, there, Malaysia.
Ibrahim IVSA Indonesia, bid number 37. I would like to nominate Olivia Sobato from IVSA Philippines for the secretary position.
Do we have anyone to accept on their behalf? Tika.
Ika Desai, IVSA India, bidding number 13. I accept on her behalf.
Are there any other nominations? Again.
Hotel comparison, IVSA Netherlands, bid number 84. I would like to nominate Soumya Gohil from IVSA India for secretary.
Do we have anyone to accept on their behalf? We have a bunch of nominations from India. Wow. Meera.
Meera Valvatkar, IVSA India, bidding number 67. I would like to accept on her behalf.
Thank you. Are there any other nominations? Alberta? Alberta's going to get tired of giving speeches.
Alberta Afran, IVSA Ghana, bidding number 28. I would like to nominate Jimo Utman Olatunji for position of secretary. IVSA Nigeria.
Do we have anyone to accept on their behalf? New hands, people, come on. Wendy.
Varateva, IVSA Czech Republic, bidding number 12. I accept on your behalf.
Are there any other nominations? Going once, going twice. Seeing none, nominations are now closed and will open again tomorrow. Next point on the agenda is nominations for Trust 2026-2027. Do we have any nominations? Iman?
Novan IVSA Indonesia, bidding number 38. I would like to nominate Titi Layo Ayodel from IVSA Nigeria for the trust.
Do we have anyone to accept on behalf?
IVSA Afghan IVSA Ghana bidding number 28 and Central.
Are there any other nominations for Trust? Cherish?
Chair Sung, IVSA China, bidding number 22. I'd like to nominate Ryan Tucker from IVSA Expo for the position of trust.
Ryan?
Ryan Sequara, IVSA Exco, bidding number 72. I accept.
Are there any other nominations for Trust? Jasmine?
Jasmine Peterson, IVSA Sweden, bidding number 89. I'd like to nominate Martina Sung from IVSA China for position of trust.
Bertina?
Martina Sung, IVSA China, bidding number 5. I accept.
Are there any other nominations for Trust? Seeing none, nominations are now closed and will open again tomorrow. Nominations for the 76th IVSA Symposium. Are there any nominations? Seeing none, nominations are now closed and will open again tomorrow. Nominations for the 77th IVSA Congress. Do we have any nominations? To all the MOs present here, you should think about after attending this event, how would you like to do one of these in your own country and run for host. Do we have any nominations? Seeing none, nominations are now closed and will open again tomorrow. Just for everyone's recap, IVSA India is in the running for the 76th IVSA Symposium, no one's in the running for 77th IVSA Congress, and no one also in the running for financial auditors here. Are there any nominations for financial auditors? Seeing none, nominations are now closed.
Point of information.
Yes, Ishan.
Ishan Chari, IVSA Expo, bidding number 11. When do all of these nominations close so that delegates can nominate their MOs?
Nominations for the 76th IVSA Symposium will close at GS6 this event, and elections will happen during the elections of the officials. Nominations for the 77th IVSA Congress will go on until the Rwanda Symposium next January. So you have time until then if you want to decide if your MO runs for hosting. And nominations for financial auditors also closes for these elections. Ishan?
Ishan Chari, IVSA Expo, bidding number 11. And the nominations for all the official positions will be shut so that we can use the deadline.
They will also shut at GS6. Do we have any nominations for financial auditors? Seeing none, nominations are now closed and will open again tomorrow. Next point on the agenda, event strategy task force update, and that is me. Hello everyone, I also serve as the chair of the event strategy task force for this term. So, progress update for this term. The event strategy task force was established back in the Taiwan Congress as a continuation of the events inclusivity task force, which in turn was established during the Denmark Congress in 2024. The task force was supposed to start work this year, January, and the timeline of its working was January to December this term across 2 terms, the current one and the next one, so that we have enough input from all the officials across both terms, as well as gain feedback regarding the ongoing events across both terms. It was delayed due to the organization of the SGA 2026, which I was OC President and Chair for as well. Unfortunately, when the open call was done for applications, we had quite a low number of applications, with majority of them being new students that did not know anything about IVSA. And unfortunately, for a project like the Events Strategy Task Force, we need many more experienced members who have been to events that they can give their inputs regarding how IVSA events work. As a background to it, the Event Strategy Task Force was established to ensure to improve our current ongoing events, both the Symposium Congress, the regional events, as well as the online events that we have across the regions and the committees and networks. So what did we do instead? During the past term actually, we collected like attendance data of events, exchanges, webinars, quizzes, so on and so forth, as well as feedback data from events, including data from offline events, as well as the online symposium that took place earlier this year. We also met with HLMs on advice regarding event improvement. All of them had their thoughts because they were present at different events. And each event had its own set of problems. HLMs being our honorary life members for the new students. You have to give this. Okay, the short is on these ones of the meeting. Steps forward, what will we do the next 6 months, continuing on into the new term? We will continue working to find ways to improve IVSA events, give more delegates and countries a chance to represent themselves and their countries. Now, there's two ways to look at it. For offline events, it's obviously difficult for all of those who've come here today. No, it must have been difficult to obtain visa. It must have been difficult to pick flights flying over the Middle East because of the war situation going on and several other issues, but you guys are here. And the aim with the Event Strategy Task Force is to get as many more delegates as possible. We'll be having an open call for members for the task force to be open after this Congress, so keep an eye out for that. We'll be also meeting with sister organizations to see what can be adopted from their own respective events. Sister organizations being the pharmaceutical students, the medical students, and the dental students, since they have their own events that uniquely function. And from an external point of view, we've seen their events work at a much larger scale than what we currently do. This is also attributed to the fact that they are much larger organizations compared to us with different rules than us. But I'm sure there's something that we can adopt from their events into ours to improve ours. And we will be completing the proposal writing and documentation over the first half of the new term, since the timeline is until December 2026. However, there is an extension possible, which I would prefer not taking. And this is the previous work of the Events Inclusivity Task Force / the Events Strategy Task Force, where we worked on a hybrid proposal where the Symposium and Congress of IVSA would take place in a hybrid format. They would be run offline and online as well. So the official parts, that is the General Assembly, probably some lectures would be done hybrid, while live delegates are here and some delegates are attending online, so that we can get MO's votes present. Because traditionally we've seen during the COVID GAs, we had a much higher attendance in terms of number of MOs attending because everyone could be there. However, the quality of delegates is what I would say was slightly on the lower end because people used to sit in front of the computer screens and not respond during discussions at all. Here, at least offline, we can get delegates to participate, get themselves out of the comfort zones, and take part in IVSA debates. The reworked itinerary is there. If anyone would like to look at it, I can give you the document link. It will also be put in, it will probably be put in the delegates drive as well. The GM procedures, however, voting rights of delegates, of online members, we would continue using the same rules that we have now. The elections that you will be introduced to later on are done on the Election Runner app because it's an online app. We don't need to change any of those formattings. GA discussions would be alternate speakers between online and offline. So how I point out different people that are present here, they will be alternated between one person present offline and one person present online. Educational programs, we would have exclusive online lectures for online participants and offline lectures for the offline participants, depending on what time zone we are in. If it's possible to have live streaming for the lectures as well for the online participants, we'll also organize that. Recording and lecture notes from the offline participants will be made available to the online ones and have interactive workshops and lectures as well. Social events, however, certain things you need to accept that we cannot merge online and offline. Like icebreakers, due to time zone issues, we probably would have to split them. For cultural evening, we could have online videos playing. I don't know how interesting that would be, but that is an idea that was given the last term. White T-shirt party, we worked on several forms, compliment forms that we write to each other online instead of having a white T-shirt for the online delegates. And international stands, videos can be played from online MOs and offline MOs can give their presentations to the online ones. Auctions and formal dinner, however, we obviously cannot move to a hybrid format, so the online participants will have to follow that at least. And same goes for the EO meeting, the ERO workshop, and any other procedures of the event. We can obviously fit them in hybrid because we have enough time. However, due to the 12-hour gap across our latest and earliest countries across the time zones, it is not possible to have events at a convenient hour that is possible for everyone. So at some point during the event, one side of the world will be waking up early and the other will be staying up late, and vice versa, so that it's balanced out for everyone. And elections would be done on one day to accommodate GA rules and timing of elections. This is all ideation. This is not a formal proposal. This is not us changing the format of events, because then we would have to work on several procedures and bring it to the GA the next time around. So when we present the EST work at the Rwanda Symposium, we might have a better update on this. Thank you. Do we have any questions? Are there any questions on the events of the task force? Felix?
Felix Metzger, IVSA Germany, bid number 69. Thank you for the presentation, Chair. I would like to know, in regards of actions for the next 6 months, like on all those talks with HLM and so on, what key problems have you identified? And also, what potential measurements in order to improve events have you discussed already? Because I know it's still 6 months until official end of the task force. However, we've seen in IVSA history, 6 months are not much for task force. Thank you.
Thank you for that question to the previous speaker. I can technically address it though. In terms of solutions, key problems, the first one that has been a problem at all events is obviously visas. The idea would be to start application processes early so that we can get the visa processes in early. Another thing that has been thought about is starting earlier applications in terms of when we do the final fee presentation, maximum fee presentation, 2 events before. The idea would be to open tentative applications for the event so that we can get started on procedures. So by the time final fee is accepted by the GA, we know there are X amount of people applying and they can already get set up with their letters, documentations for the visas. Since there's only almost always 2 to 3 months between applications and events, this would give us much more time with it. Another idea that has been thought about is reducing the duration of our events by at least 1 to 2 days. This, however, needs to be looked into more because this affects the durations of the GA, the finances of the event, and we need to research into it more. Another thing that we've observed is, is motivation, like extra motivation during the beginning of the term, and then it slightly starts going down as we get towards the middle of it. And the last couple months, everyone gets quite inactive. And this is not just across one level of IVSA. This has been noted across all levels in terms of international events, in terms of officials working, delegates attending, and in terms of local and national MO activities as well. So not overdoing things, talking out to MOs, regions, standing committees and networks, seeing how that can be solved individually would be another plan of the task force as well. And yeah, I think that covers most of it. I'm probably forgetting a couple more points, but this will all be part of the documentation that we do for the EST. Another plan that we have is to have a document that is on par with the strategic action plan that we currently have, so that we have a list of problems and a list of proposed solutions for the future terms. I hope that answers your question. Do we have any other questions? Omar.
Omar Parkaram, IVSA Turkey, meeting number 31. Has this strategy task force worked for and discussed with the HLMs regarding the live event itself, not just the format of the events? Thank you.
We did discuss regarding live events themselves, how you can improve just plain live events. A lot of the ideas stemmed from financial facts, where reducing fee, getting documentation done for visa earlier, getting certainty of hosting the event done earlier would be the ways to fix the event, because the biggest problems a live event has is almost always travel and finances. To give an example right now that we had yesterday, when the Rwanda symposium presentation was done, the first point that was put into the visa documentation was financial documents that need to be submitted for the delegate to attend for a visa. Now that is okay in some countries, it is not okay. It is not very easy in other countries. IVSA does strive to provide support letters for students traveling for these events, and it's always allowed that delegates who are facing troubles, what I would say, facing troubles regarding visa documentations to get support from IVSA. So for example, during my first event back in Slovenia, I needed a letter from IVSA, I needed a letter from the local OC, I also needed to, I also needed to, someone's mic is on. Hello. Okay. I also needed to provide sufficient bank statements, and that was quite a hassle. And that also included a letter from the university. So the talks would. Is this better? I think it is. So I had to provide a lot of letters to get to the event, and it took me quite a bit of running around. So I'm speaking from personal experience when we know what delegates face in terms of trouble. We've also had delegates that have had to go to other countries to just get visas because there's no embassy in their own country, which makes the process even more expensive. We have looked into options, certain times it's worked out, certain times it hasn't. An example of that would be when the Indian delegation went to Nepal, went to Taiwan. Partial of the delegation had to get physical visas, the other partial got online visas because the Taiwan OC spoke to their Ministry of External Affairs and they could get e-visas done for us. So this can also be a process that started much earlier in terms of event planning, because if it's delayed and if it starts when the applications open, the OC themselves probably don't have enough information to be able to get you the visa documents needed. That is also something that we'll look at improving. In terms of GA time, which has always been a complaint that it goes on too long, we have looked at options at making it more efficient. However, we still struggle to make it more efficient actually, because we just have so many things to present. And for example, at this event, we don't have a lot of major discussion in terms of bylaw amendments, constitutional amendments, task force work, which we've had at previous events, and the discussions have gone on very, very long. For example, the events inclusivity task force back in Peru, the discussion themselves went about a few hours over time. So these are things that we need to look at from an objective point of view, where you make GA more efficient and not get lost in terms of GA hours. Because students do take time off anywhere between 7 to 11 days for our events, but that's also making the events longer, more expensive, and GA takes too much time, unfortunately. So these are things that we are looking at into improving. The exact solutions, however, are still being worked on, and honestly, even I do not know what to tell you to make GA more efficient. So if you do have ideas for us, please come talk to me and we'll figure it out. Thank you. Are there any other questions? Go ahead.
Sorry, it's not a question. Indeed, quite obvious. Singi Kwek, IVSA Malaysia, bidding number 19, point of privilege. I would like to go up to the GA.
Yes.
And visit a polyclinic right now.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, thank you.
Do we have any other questions? Ashley?
Ashley Harris, IVSA Australia, bidding number 83. In terms of merging online and in-person events and online and having participants that are in-person interact in an online format, how do you plan to make sure that the experience isn't detracted from the people participating in the in-person event if the people at an in-person event are also attending an online event at the same time?
So to clarify that, they will be attending. So for example, if you've seen how our speakers from the opening ceremonies and the lectures have been present via Google Meet, that is how the online participants will be present. So the interaction between the offline participants and online participants will be through that. It's not that the offline participants will be attending a separate online program. It'll be one program that's done together. So, and in terms of experiences, there are obviously certain experiences we cannot provide to the online participants. For example, formal dinner, silent auctions, live auctions. So we adjust them in terms of we plan out other activities for them or just give them a break because of time zone issues. So for example, when there's a common time zone that is possible for everyone, we have the General Assembly, the lectures at that point in time, and when either the delegates online are waking up or going to sleep, during that time, the offline participants have the regular other activities like the live auction and the city tours, so on and so on. Do we have any other questions? Before I give the floor to Felix, is there any other hand? Felix.
Felix Metzger, I was a Germany meeting number 69. So thank you very much for the answers already. In terms of finances for future events, like it was already mentioned that there are ways to make J's more efficient, the events shorter. But what we're observing right now, given the event here, but also like the one we're about to vote, which is the Uganda Symposium, we're already reaching like amount of fees that are very close to the 400. We are usually trying to be below it. So this is of course an issue, especially in terms of like MOs running from regions or like countries where things are more expensive in general, especially looking, for example, the Europe region here, which makes it very hard to host an event despite the will to do it. Does the task force already have some ideas or had conversations with partner organizations on how to save money and or how to reduce the fee but still make the events work, given that sponsors are harder and harder to convince?
Thank you for that question. Speaking from a personal point of view and not as chair of the Events Strategy Task Force right now, because this is informal discussions I've had with other people outside of IVSA, where fees of sister organization events are much, much higher than what IVSA provides right now. For example, the current ongoing IPSF World Congress, the fees was around 700 euros. And this is attributed to the fact that the event is not just a congress, but they also have skill development, continuing education workshops, and the fees goes to all of that as well. So one thing would be to look at is that maybe IVSA can start doing some continuing education programs with our partners and sponsors. Maybe that would be more appealing to people to spend money on. Because for example, a 400 euro fee that we pay per year, now that fee includes our travel, local travel, accommodation, food, and for some people, 400 euros might not seem much. For other people that are losing out money in currency conversion, that's a lot of money. So we need to be able to justify our costs. Now, cutting down on the costs with current world inflation is not very easy without sponsor support. Now, that sponsor support has to be either local or international. One idea would be to get IVSA ourselves to subsidize these events. This has been a topic of conversation since back in Brazil, but it's never really been feasible for us due to the budget constraints that IVSA has had. So for example, the idea would be, okay, IVSA pays an X amount of money to the OC to directly reduce the fees of the event, not add on to new activities, new workshops, new lectures, but directly reduce the fee of the participants. Why we do not do this right now is because IVSA budget almost always has been in the positives for us to have enough leftover. And we also struggle with sponsors that come and go for a very brief period of time. The problem is that sponsors tend to stick around for 1 or 2 years and then kind of vanish, which we've faced in the past with certain organizations. And the solution to that would be signing probably longer MOUs, getting more money in, but also proving to our sponsors and partners that IVSA is not just spending their money on showcasing things, but also on education, more meaningful programs, continuing education, etc. We have plans like talks in progress right now with the ERO team, and I hope we get a lot more fruitful discussions out of that as well. Thank you. Do we have any other questions? Tammy?
Nominated on IVSA Exco, bidding number 3. I just wanted to comment on the previous speaker's question because that's something that also came to my attention after having attended many events from our partners and getting the question of why your event is so long and what you do and everything. Also considering that I've organized a Congress years ago in which the world situations were completely different and each OC is struggling to keep the fee lower than 400. I've discussed this situation with the chair of the task force. While I understand that other associations have high fees, we are currently struggling that the members pay the fees we have. So I don't think it's good for us to raise the fee because they will have more problems with our members. So I have had some proposals after talking with some partners, like reducing some terms of the GA, which will end up reducing a bit the amount of days of the event. There's something that I've seen in WBA in Wasaba events that they have consent agenda. There are those topics that doesn't need to be discussed, like reports of executive members, and it still takes time in our agenda. Those things are things I talked to some trust members, the chair of the task force. Unfortunately, I couldn't work on it myself because the workload was very high, but I hope I'll be able to work on it and dedicate proper time after the acquisition. Thank you.
Thank you, Naveen. Do we have any other questions? Yeah.
Beata Betmakovska, IVSA Latvia, bidding number 66. Yes, thank you. I have a question regarding if we organize it in a hybrid version as it is thought about, how that would first of all impact OC, because we all know that being in OC, I don't think it's an easy job, especially if you partake in GAs as also as a delegates, first of all. And then the second one is, would there be, for example, more expenses regarding technical situation because we will have people more on the technical side. So how would that be dealt with? Because would that come in live event delegate part, or would that be then on the online delegate part? Thank you.
All right, thank you for that question. To answer your first part of the question in terms of how will it impact the OC, the plan for the hybrid event, if an hybrid event is adopted, would be is that the offline OC stays offline with a few members taking part in the technical stuff that is present offline, and the remaining online activities will be handled by an online OC. And this could either be via open call, it could be the officials doing it, or it could be a few extra members of the OC that are just dedicated by just plainly to online section. Second, in terms of the finances of the event, if the technical stuff would be a problem, my answer to that would be no, because the equipment needed would just be laptops, speakers, projectors, and our laptops connected to an HDMI cable online and the Wi-Fi, which is already part of the expenses of an offline event. So we don't really need additional equipment. It might vary with the venue depending on where we are. So for example, at this venue, all of the speakers and the sound mixers and everything is right here. But in Taiwan, we just had a plain projector. We did not have a sound mixer like that. So that is a event-to-event variation, but it's not a compulsion that is increasing the expenses of the event. Thank you. Do we have any other questions? Peter.
Peter Nicholas, IVSA Denmark, bidding number 14. Given that, as we discussed, 400 and the prices thereabout is quite a lot of a student budget to put up for 1 month. Has options been explored regarding split payments or payments over an extended period of time?
That is quite a good question, and no, that has not been thought about, but something to add to our thoughts. The only issue that comes to mind for me with split payments or payments over time is the transaction charges that would be wasted for every international payment made. But I think that would be something to look at later on. There could be options like paying at the event, paying through other means maybe, but I will note this down for discussions for next time. Thank you. Do we have any other questions? Ryan?
Ryan Square, IVS Exco, number 72. About split payments, the other thing is the OC generally requires to make some additional payments, which might also end up being an issue with split payments. So that is also an issue because that's the reason even over here with the Nepal Congress, we try to start as early as possible because two problems. One is that since we try not to sign any contracts with the things we're paying for, if in case there is any increase in any of the items, again, it's a loss in the OC side or you might have to cancel out something. So that's why split payments are a little difficult decision, but yeah, if something can be considered, it can be.
I believe before handing the mic to Pika, I would also like to add, it could also be looked at in terms of sponsors for the event. If, for example, advance payments need to be made for something, we get the sponsors' money to pay it out before we get the delegates to pay it out. But also, again, something to consider based on previous event finances and talking to people again. So it could just be a discussion we have as the term goes on. Yes, Peter.
Peter Nicholas, now is definitely number 14. Given that this discussion will be had later, I will not go into it long now, but I will say regarding split payments, it could be done for specific countries such as the Development Fund beneficiaries, just to address that. And I do believe apps exist for it specifically in terms of the fees and bank charges, so as to maybe circumvent that issue. But thank you.
Thank you, Peter, for that comment. I would advise you to join the events as the task force for next term. But the discussion has gone on quite long now. Do we have any other questions? All right, thank you. All right, next point on the agenda is continuing from GA1 onwards. And the first point on GA1 onwards is member organization director update. Apologies, we have missed one. Yeah. I'm very sorry for that. The next update on the agenda point is Wildlife and Exotic Network update. And that is going to be
Beata Betmakovska, IVSA Latvia, bidding number 66. So hello everybody, good morning. I hope you're enjoying this. So I will be giving the presentation about Wildlife Exotics Network because sadly our chair couldn't be here. Can you do the next slide, please? Okay, so this is our amazing team. As you can see, there are 18 of us in total, and it is amazing that you can see 5 of us here. And yeah, we have from diverse, like we have quite a diverse team, as you can see. And I will try to explain it as the best I can, but I'm only the research manager, so there might be some questions I sadly cannot answer. Yes, going forward, we have had multiple projects, for example, like webinars, where we have collaborated with multiple other networks. For example, as you can see, we have collaborated with Standing Committee on Animal Welfare or Pathology Network. As well, we have collaborated with regions and MOs. As well, we have been part of course, of our online SGA, and yes, and also collaborating with partners, which is very, very important because this year we have had very nice partners, and I will talk about it more a bit later. And talking about webinars, I think our CC already mentioned it, but we have like this webinar catalog, and you can see it in our Instagram as well. Yes, and of course, talking about webinars, we have had quite high attendance and interest. So special thanks to everybody who had the time to join, who enjoyed the webinars. We really appreciate it. And what projects have we actually done besides webinars? So this is my part where you can ask the questions for me. Yes, animal superpowers, for example, where we write about like interesting animals, or species spotlight, where we find some interesting animals and then we write a bit more about them, so you can learn more about wildlife and exotic animals. And we have a collaboration with IVSA Rampur about wildlife Wednesday members. You can check out their profile to see more. And of course, we have exotic pathologies uncovered, which is in collaboration with Pathology Network. So big shout out to them. And we have also Wildlife Day celebration, because we know that there are multiple types of day that we celebrate. And wildlife, I think it's very important because it's usually because of conservation issues and stuff like that. So it's very important to give information to other people about that as well. And what we have done as well, we have had ambassador program. I think if I remember correctly, we had 20 ambassadors from multiple regions, as well as, like, for example, Europe, I think Asia, and I think Africa as well. They have been working like with other networks as well as in their MOs, and it has helped to raise awareness about our networks, because it was one of their jobs to repost posts and just send opportunities to their own MOs and LCs. And one very nice thing that we did this year was an exotic essay competition, which was graded by our team. I was one of the people that graded the essays. So it was focused on like wildcat conservation, because that's one of the biggest issues. And winners did receive cash prizes. So here we can see all the winners as well. And big shout out to our partners, because without them, this would have never been possible. And talking about partners, our key achievements, you can see that this year we have gotten 4 new partnerships, which I would say is a big step for a network like us. One of them is the Wildlife Forensic Academy. As you can understand from the name, they give training in forensic sciences. So what you as members can actually get from them, they have master classes, internships courses, and they also have like online lectures. And there was actually one given on the special General Assembly, which happened online this March, February and March. As well as sometimes they sponsor some of our posts that we post. For example, in the previous slide, oh yeah, here it is. In the previous slide, species spotlight about the blue crab. And then the next one is exotic wet. It's professional training. It's like what they go is for the professional trainings and global collaboration, especially for exotic animals, because they, in some countries, for example, in mine, they are not that known. So that's their plan to give people to learn more about them. And that's why, in collaboration with us, they give us this possibility to get their educational programs, case discussions, I think, which is very interesting, and mentorship as well, and very interesting for this time for Asia Pacific region. They did give a 10% discount for their conference. And talking about the next one, which is Wild Tracks, it's global conservation, like partnership for us. And there, what you as members can get from it are internship possibilities in multiple countries, for example, Namibia, South Africa, Costa Rica, And they give discounts for their events for like as we are IVSA members, they give us discounts for these events. And what else they do? They help us with lectures. And what a nice thing they did take part in our project that we had, which was Untamed project, which was in the collaboration with Standing Committee on Animal Welfare with our ambassadors as well. And the last one, and I think you have already heard about this, because I think our president mentioned this one, is World Aquatic Veterinary Medicine Association. This is our newest partner, and I'm very happy to announce that we will have lectures given from them and workshop by Dr. Devon. So we're looking forward to that one as well. And what else they give? They give like 20% discount for members to take part in their events. They give access to their student materials. And talking about internship, if you are interested in any internship regarding wildlife and you are like, I don't know where to go, I don't know where to find them, we do have a database, so check out our Instagram to find those. And of course, we always have space for improvement, right? Of course, we can always have more external relations to ensure like more partnerships, more collaborations, because more visibility means bigger education for all of us, bigger opportunities for all of us. And yes, I think we should like somehow engage more people and have like bigger participation across all regions, because we all know that time zones are difficult, because for me it might be 3 p.m. but for somebody it's 3 a.m. So we would have to think about how to include everyone in this case. And increasing collaboration with member organizations and local chapters, and that's where our sweet ambassadors usually come in. Yeah, something like that. And please follow our social media, check it out. You can see everything that you're interested in case you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Beata, for the presentation. Do we have any questions? Peter. What's the second one?
Peter Beeples, I is deputy number 14. Thank you for the presentation. I was lucky enough this year to attend Simcoe Wildlife Symposium in South Africa. And I know that they reach out to us every year asking for promotion to our members. Now, it is a self-paid trip. There's no sponsorship here, neither for us nor for them. They are a student association as well. But I was wondering, I couldn't see any promotion of them from WEAN, and I think it is a great opportunity to really get to engage with wildlife vets in South Africa. If we have the funds for it, I myself have applied for a bunch of scholarships for it as well. So please, if that is something we could either consider for the future, if there's a specific reason as to why we're not currently doing it, I would like to know this. Thank you.
Beata.
Meredith Makowska, IVSA Latvia, bidding number 66. Yes, thank you, previous speaker, for this. And regarding this, I sadly don't know about this because I don't know that much about what they have reached out to and what they haven't. But I think if I could talk to you after GA and I could get more information, I will for sure send this to our chair. So maybe we will have that opportunity as well.
All right, do we have any other questions? We will only take a couple questions because we have a sponsor presentation coming up. Ritika.
Ritika Reddy, IVSA India, bidding number 23. I don't have a question, but I would like to make a statement. So I'm one of the event managers for VNet this term, and so far my experience has been nothing short of incredible. I've learned a lot in this term, and since I've directly worked with webinars, that was something that I would like to elaborate on, the webinar catalog. I think one of the previous speakers from yesterday's GA had a question regarding the webinar recordings. So the entire main team has worked really hard on creating this webinar catalog, which is present on our Instagram page. We currently have 4 webinars recorded, including 2 of which were in collaboration with the Wildlife Forensic Academy. So for those of you who are interested, please go check it out, as we've worked really hard on this. Thank you.
Awesome. Yes, please advance the time. Do we have any other questions? Okay.
My partner and I visit Turkey being number 31. As students, we don't really have that much money, and with those discounts, were there any increase in engagement to those congresses or symposiums or events, or did it stay the same? Thank you.
Beate Vetmakowska, IVSA Latvia, bidding number 66. Sadly, I have not this kind of information. Maybe our CSC can answer to this.
Violette.
Violette Nepal, bidding number 18. Thank you, previous speaker, for that question. So these are very recently established partnerships. The first congress that will happen will take place in October this year. So that means we cannot give any numbers regarding engagement, but the Wild and Exotics team, particularly for external relations, follows up with all of the partners. We always collect feedback, so we hope to see these metrics soon. Thank you.
Thank you for that update. We will be pausing the discussion for a bit so that we can go on to a sponsor presentation. In case there are more questions, we will follow up after that they are done. So thank you, Peter. You might be called back again. The chair will now entertain a motion to go into a 20-minute stand at ease to follow the Purina presentation. New hands, come on. That does not work. I have spoken. Maybe someone from the Republic of Korea wants to put their hand up. I haven't heard any of them talk at GA. Yeah.
Hiya, I visit the Republic of Korea, bidding number 41. I'm so moved.
Awesome. The motion on the floor is to go into a 20-minute stand at ease for the duration of the Purina presentation. Do we have any discussion? Any objection? Seeing none, we are now in a stand at ease. Stand at ease means you cannot leave the room, so please stay here while we connect on with Purina. All right, perfect. We can go with. All right, we can start.
Okay, so still echoes. Is it okay now? Yeah, so yes, okay. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, so good morning, good afternoon maybe. So everyone, and it's really good to see you. First of all, thank you very much to IVSA and the organizing committee for inviting me to join you today. So my name is Idis Wang, and I currently work in scientific affairs at Nestle Purina Petcare, Greater China region. So before joining in the industry, I worked in clinical practice and also spent some time in an academic teaching hospital. Looking back, my own career has taken several unexpected turns. Today, I would like to share that journey with you, not because I think everyone should follow the same path, but because it taught me that veterinary medicine can open far more doors than we often imagine when we were students. So let me start where everything began. Just quickly to introduce myself to you. So I'm Edith, and I spent 10 years as a vet, mostly in the small animal medicine, and also I spent 5 years in clinical nutrition. Meanwhile, I spent also, it's overlap, but I spent 5 years in the hospital management to run the inpatient department. We have about 50 staffs, and also we received 60 to 80 cases per day. So it's quite a busy clinic. And also, my team, we started China's first small animal nutrition clinic, where we give consultation we give consultation to pet owners who are interested in the clinical nutrition topic, only nutrition. And so that makes us a referral clinic. Also, I am the CBMA certificate nutrition specialist. I have 2 ginger cats, 1 male, 1 female. And also, I am a motorcycle rider, and also I'm a beginner, just starting to learn something. And really too glad to join this vet team and then to give presentation. And why am I here today? So when I was a vet student, I believe I have a very clear picture of my future, just like many of here, that I expected my career would probably take place in clinics, hospitals, perhaps academia, but not so for sure. And also in the future, while you are being a vet, you are able to practice wherever you are. So the original plan was that maybe I will spend some time in Beijing, the capital of China, and maybe for 3 or 4 years then in Shanghai, maybe Shenzhen, maybe Chengdu. There are a lot of cities and they have quite different views. So at that time, I have never imagined that I would one day work in pet nutrition or scientific communication or industry. But today, I would like to share 3 things. My own career journey, a question that unexpectedly changed my professional passion, and why I believe veterinarians have more career possibilities today than ever before. So how many of you are planning to become clinicians after graduation? That was exactly my plan at the original. So my journey started exactly where you are today. So as a veterinary student, I developed a strong interest in science, medicine, and animal health. And after graduation, I entered clinical practice, where I began working directly with patients and pet owners. So for the first 3 years, I finished my residency at the China Agricultural University Veterinary Teaching Hospital. So that was a training area where I take places. Most of the time, I spend time in internal medicine. And later, I become involved in teaching and academic activities. Meanwhile, I become an attending physician in internal medicine, which this journey exposed me to research, evidence generation, and scientific discussion. Because not only we have cases in practice, but also we join the research programs, research projects involve pharmaceutical and also clinical nutrition. That's where the science came in the picture. So although eventually I moved into the scientific affairs within the industry. So that is the connection coming from. Although the environments change dramatically, one thing remains constant. That is my commitment to improving animal health through science. So every step, although sometimes I'm a vet, sometimes I'm a researcher, sometimes I am working in the industry as a spokesman, and sometimes I am a facilitator, sometimes I'm a trainer, but overall, it all goes to science. Although it changes rapidly, but what clinical practice taught me. Oops. What clinical tells me. So clinical practice taught me lessons I continue to use every single day. Of course, I'm a medicine, you learn medicine too, but much more importantly, I learned how to think. Every patient is different, every owner is different, every medical decision involving uncertainty. You must see what is happening. You must investigate what is going on. You must gather information as much as you can, and then you must deduct. It's like Sherlock Holmes or other famous detectives. You need to get all the clues, all the information as much as you can, and then to use your brilliant, beautiful brain to gather all the information to have the ultimate conclusion. So clinical work taught me critical thinking, taught me evidence evaluation, taught me communication, and also responsibility, and lifelong learning. So once you are a vet, you already are, even though you are still studying, even though you are vet students, you have already been a vet and you have already thinking that like a vet. So that is a lifelong journey. So to this today, many of the skills I used in my current career, which is scientific affairs, really originate in clinical practice. Right now, I'm still, most of the time, I think, I still thinking like a vet. And I also trying to practice medicine, even in some project. So that is my journey, but there is still one question there, which is why clinical nutrition? You know, we have lots of fancy specialties. Some people are really want to be cardiologists. Some people really want to be an ophthalmologist. So, but anyway, why clinical nutrition? It's not the sexiest specialty in the world, I would say, but eventually it goes to everyday life for the pets, for the pet owners, which means it's very important for our vets to know that. For myself, I started as a home cook, so that is one of my interests. I would love to cook for my family. I would love to cook for my friends. So it's part of the culture that when we give food, when we share food, when we enjoy the preparation process of food, that's where we share love. So naturally, this goes into the daily life. This goes into what is happening in our industry, which is vet medicine and also the pet food industry. So ultimately, it's not a simple gesture. It's not the behavior of giving food. It's the behavior of giving love. That is why nutrition is very important to the pet owners. That is why it is very important for our vet medicine professionals. So imagine when you are in the hospital, if you are an attending physician, that if you have an inpatient department, who will be executing all the medical procedure? Sometimes it's the resident, sometimes it's the assistant, the veterinary assistant, sometimes it's the technician. But anyway, it is someone who will read the prescription, who will read all the orders and then to do the things that we need to do. But when the pets, when our patients go back to home, who will be taking care of them? It must be the pet owners. When we practicing, when we see cases, for example, I taught a lot of young residents, and then one of them just after taking a call and then really frustrated and then come to me to say that, oh, the pet owner didn't know what I'm talking about. So I've explained everything to her that the patient is critically ill, and then all the biochemical and status is really bad, And then what we done, a lot of things to stable the status, to see, check all the heartbeat, all the blood pressure, and then we give adequate fluid, and we have reversed the disorder of the acid base and also the electrolytes, etc., etc. So we have done so many things, but after I spent explaining about 5 or even 10 more minutes, the pet owner simply asked me, "Oh wow, so did she eat it?" Shocks her. That shocks my resident. That why the pet owner doesn't understand. But in fact, that is the reason why pet owner they didn't have the education background. They didn't spend so many years like we did in this area. So that is the reason why we need to thinking not only through a vet's perspective, but also to thinking like a pet owner. We need to use the word they can understand. So when we think about the pet owner, we're thinking about our clients. So who is our client? Of course, the pets are our client, but also the pet owner is also our client, also our patient needs to be taken care of mentally. So when we're thinking about the pet owners, when they came in to bring their pets, they are anxiety, and they might be worried, and they might also sometimes they're angry about themselves not taking care of the pets. So that is the reason all of the emotion came in, and that is why our vets not need to be treating the pets, but also needs to be the psychologist to taking care of the pet owner. And we need to speak in the language they understand. So pet owners care about how to prevent the disease. They care about how can we solve all the problems. And they care about can my pet, can my dog or my cat live a happier, healthier life? And they're also thinking about can they live as long as I want? We all know it's not possible to have just endless life, but the pet owner, they would love to have their pets company as much as they can. So eventually, that solution is nutrition. That is daily life we can give to them. That is the daily power. Eventually, we can give the power of changing life just from us to our patients, to our pet owners, to eventually help the cats and the dogs. So that is why I moved to nutrition. I spent 1 or 2 years in the emergency for the ECC, emergency and critical care, which is very exciting life. It's the most thrill stages of my life, but even nutrition is completely another story. We're still changing lives, just not in that way. We change them in a more daily and then accumulated way. So after I spending those years, after I taking care of that much patients, when we starting or when we running medicine in the inpatient department, we had more than 60, sometimes reaching 80 patients per day. And by that time, we have 5 sections, and which is 3 dog ward and also 2 feline ward. And among those 60 to 80 patients, 1/4 of them, just more than 25% of them, they are critical ill or maybe need the level 1 care. So that is quite a busy stage of life. And then based on what we gather, based on what we have during the inpatient department, we also create the inpatient nutrition care center, where we give all the inpatient, dogs and cats that every day, beside the drug prescription, we also have the diet prescription, which will show that how much amount of the food, which kind of the food, and what is the way of feeding that patient. Just one by one, they have individual. So that is our breakthrough while we do in the inpatient department. Based on that experiences, we started the first, I believe right now is the only one clinical nutrition and clinic that's giving the consultation open to the pet owners. By that time, I will receive about 10 cases per day, not because that only 10 pet owner came in, but every time when pet owner trying to talk about nutrition, they spend. So by that time, on average, for the general medicine cases, the consulting time would, on average, will be 20 to 30 in total, including the first visit and the second visit to see all the results. So that will be around 30 minutes in total. But for the cases in my clinical nutrition clinic, for the consultation, it will always take 40 to 60 minutes. And that pet owner have endless questions they would love to know. But when I calculate, we run the clinic and I take all the practice for around 1 year or so. And when we calculate that, I also have a team, so it's a team. Calculate all the numbers, we see that with 10 cases per day, and then maybe 7 days per week, and if we do it endlessly, eventually it will just several hundreds, maybe more than 1,000 cases we can take care. Comparing to the market, comparing to the pet industry we're working in, is still very little amount. That when we're thinking about how many pets would need this kind of consultation, it would take a lot of time. It would take a lot of time to finish all the education, which brings me to one question. So should I create impact beyond the individual patients I treated? That is almost the same question I am asking myself before I'm doing the management stuff. I am a physician, but if I can only 10 or maybe 20 cases per day, if I can create a group, if I can help other people to become better vets, then together we might be treating 100, 200, 1,000 or even more cases as long as we have a larger and larger group of people. So that is the power of impact. And that question come in at the same, almost at the same situation around 5 or 6 years after I first think about that. So could I create impact beyond the individual patients I treated? The answer should be yes. And that question changed my career, and changed my career again. So that is what's happening from one patient to thousands of animals. Summarize the shift of my thinking. So in the clinic, I could help one patient at a time, but I began to realize that veterinary knowledge could create impact through different pathways. So by educating veterinarians, we can improve the care of many patients. By communicating science effectively, we can support better decision-making among pet owners. And by translating research into practical application, we can influence animal health on a much larger scale. We can influence more and more people. This is what eventually attracted me into the industry and eventually to Purina. So the opportunity right now is to combine science, to combine education, combine communication and impact. I would say right now, I did not leave vet medicine. I just simply started applying it differently, and I am still impacting the industry. I'm still impacting the doctors, the physicians, and eventually I am impacting the pets. So what this means for you, and then I really appreciate you spending time here to listen to all this. The things that I'm trying to deliver is that scientific affairs, scientific communication is one example of how mass can contribute beyond the traditional clinical settings. But the bigger message is not about scientific affairs or scientific communication. The bigger message is about possibility. Stay curious, never stop learning, and learn to communicate. Understand the bigger system around animal health, to look beyond, and then never stop learning. Remain open to opportunities you may not expect. So careers, they're not always linear. And whether you work in a clinic, in a university, a laboratory, or a government agency, sometimes it's a company, wherever you are working, the most important thing is not the title. It is the impact you create. So veterinary medicine is more than a profession. It's a way of thinking. So at the very end, I really thank you, appreciate you to have this time listening to me. And the future of veterinary medicine will be shaped by people like you. And I wish you all a brighter future. Thank you.
Dr. Ryan, can you hear us? Dr. Ryan, can you hear us? Probably not. Dr. Ryan, can you hear us? All right. Thank you for that. Thank you for that wonderful presentation. Do we have questions from the delegates? Yeah, we have one. Stavros.
And thank you so much for the insightful presentation. One question would be, given that a lot of associations are mainly focused on the clinical part, would you have associations in mind for newly graduates or people that are going to graduate soon that might join some associations that might have more focus on nutrition than other general, more broadly aspects of the veterinary medicine? Thank you.
So, am I standing right about this is the choices of the specialty of clinical nutrition, right? Yes. Yeah, okay. So, so clinical nutrition, from my perspective, can be two parts. And first, it is a tool. It's the same tool like fluid therapy. So if we have a patient that is not drinking, we must give him IV fluid. If we have a patient is not eating, of course, we need to think about nutrition. So if it is a tool, it's a treatment tool, it can be applied by everyone. So there are a few fundamental skills that all the vets need to know. So that is one thing. And the other thing is that clinical nutrition is a specialty. It has its own framework to have its own diagnosis, to have its own treatment. We know that several nutrients, if lacking of them, we all know target, can eventually lead to the cardiac issues in dogs and also cats. That is why the industry just improved the formula of the pet food. So we also have that. If you are interested in clinical nutrition, you can have two pathways. One is that you can be the expert of practicing clinical nutrition. That is where we can combine with every specialty. You know, all the cardiology have the special clinical nutrition, and also tumor cases, they have their own clinical nutrition. So that will make you the expert of applying clinical nutrition tools to eventually help every patient. And there is It's a second pathway that if you decided to spend more time in researching, and there is a huge world of nutrition that is not just including clinical nutrition, but also we have the science of pet food. We have the science of the formula creating. We have the science of animal behavior and all the other things. That is a larger world. So if that is some of you interested in, and there will also be a great choice.
Thank you for that answer, Dr. Edith. Do we have any other questions for that? All right, seeing none, thank you very much once again for your presentation. All right, thank you very much. Dr. Ethan is now disconnected. And the chair would like to call this GA back to order at 9:56 a.m. Nepal time, 6th of August, 2026. We will go back to questions for wild and exotic networks if there were any left before we took a standard use for Cuisina. So are there any questions? All right, seeing none, the chair will now entertain a motion to go into a 10-minute recess. New hands, people, come on. Who hasn't spoken yet? Malaika.
Malaika Zern, IVSA Germany, bidding number 63, I so move.
The motion on the floor is to go into a 10-minute recess. Do we have any discussion? Any objection? Seeing none, we are now at recess. Please come back at 10:05 a.m. in 10 minutes. Please don't have us call you over and over again because we're slightly behind on GA time. But go on for recess.
quick. Uh, and if you guys have not followed us in the social media, please follow us. You will see a lot of opportunities. So these are our social media handles. You can scan them if you haven't followed us. And with this, I would like to end my presentation, and I would also like to thank all the EXCO members, especially the President family, ERO, and our amazing CC team. Like without them, I think we could not have done anything. And to all my incredible team, you guys are the best. You know, like you have made my job so easy. And just to mention the fact that about 80 to 90% of my team members have been active throughout the term, and I'm super lucky that I have them. Thank you, guys.
All right, thank you for that wonderful presentation for the Pathology Network update. Do we have any questions? Seeing none, thank you once again very much for that wonderful presentation. And the next point on the agenda is Member Organization Director update, and that is Ryan.
Ryan Sikora, IVSA Exco, bidding number 72. Okay, hi guys. I'm gonna try and make this quick. So, Member Organization Director, Ryan Sikora, IVSA Exco. Before we move on, I would like to give a shout out to my team because honestly, MOD without an MOD team of so many members cannot do their job because like we have around 82 MOs, and if I was to handle them alone, I would probably pass out every other day. So unfortunately, we do not have Katerina, Ekwe, Vilka, and Daniel joining us, but I do have a lot of my other members, which is Iliri. I have Monsef, there is Bertina, there is also Mira, there is Omer, and there's Peter. So yeah, thank you guys. Before starting, obviously, there has to be a shout out to you guys because, yeah. Okay, so my projects, a bunch of them. So I guess you all know one of the main projects is the Shift to Members portal. We stopped using the membership declaration ever since this year has started. We had them on for some time during the term, but ever since this year started, we stopped them. And yeah, we were able to successfully almost shift around 80 of the MOs to the members portal. And then also we have conducted 2 excellence award competitions. The one during the online SGA, the result was out, and during the Nepal Congress, you will see the result during the last GA. And again, you have the top MO competition. Again, improvements were made to renew the scoring criteria, which was again made anew last term. So the reason again we're making improvements is because as I was a secretary in the previous term, I did see a lot of places where improvements can be made. I worked with my secretaries again to make some improvements, and we still have many fields that we think that it can be made quite so that there's no subjective things in there, so that the points are facts and it cannot be changed between MOs. And then again, something that was started during tonight's term was the presidents and youth meetings. So yeah, some of you guys have heard me for almost the entire year. And then we had the Purina competitions along with the ERO president and also the MO ERO secretary Peter. And we're always working on the MO database. You have regional reps who are always contacting you regarding our MO information, just so that we know when your terms change, who is in the current exco, and so yeah. Then again, some of you guys were able to attend the pre-Nepal Congress training sessions, which was also nice. I guess some of you were able to know what happens during the event, so you guys were a bit more prepared instead of just coming in blind. And also working with the current and future OC. So yeah, I worked with the SGA OC, the current Nepal OC, and I'm also currently working with the Rwandan OC. And also mentoring the exchange database again, because as you know, we do not just send emails to the regional reps. There is a form out there where you guys submit your exchange contracts so that we have it on us. Next is MO news. So luckily, as of now, there have been no MOs terminated. However, till the end of this term, which is 31st August, if there are a few MOs who, if they do not end up paying, they will be terminated when the next term begins. And also, I have been approached by many students who are interested in IVSA. However, since there was not enough time for us to be able to discuss all of the details, we were not able to make new memos. Yeah, and the good news is we also had a new MO joining us during the online SGA, which was IVSA Azerbaijan, and we also have a new MO which will be presented again actually. And yeah, it is from the Asia Pacific region. Next is Congress SGA 2027. So as you all know, currently we do not have a host which was elected during the previous event. So again, if you guys were present at the MO meeting, we had a really productive discussion about how you can host these events. So I would really strongly recommend, if you guys think you can host Congress SGA, you guys should do it. Or as always, you have the current Nepal OC over here. You have me. You can always approach me. You can approach Tammy. If you have any questions, or you can always also approach Wise because she is the president-elect. And if you have any questions, you can do it. Next is social media and contact. So yeah, you guys can scan this QR code and please follow us, guys. You want to get more followers. Okay, good. Next is what's the plan? The plan ahead. I think that's the wrong thing I've written up there. So, well, I was supposed to present this yesterday, so that's why the MO meeting in Nepal is here, but that's already done. I do want the next MOD to focus more on improving our social media handles. I feel like there's just a lot of post which is information. I really want to work on maybe trying to do something more related to the MO, since again that is my job. The MOD handover manual. So the MOD is a position that has a lot of things in it. There is just so much to do. It's very difficult for a singular person to make that manual, since again it's washed. So hopefully I can start some of it and the next person can take over. Again, working on the top MO competition criteria, like I said, even during the scoring this time, we found some things that could be, difficult to score, or like we don't know what to do. So yeah, and also feelings of improvement for the next MOD. As I've worked throughout this term, there's a lot of things that have worked that have not worked for me. Some things that I myself thought I didn't do the greatest at. So that is something I would definitely like to, let the next MOD know. And yeah, that's my pet group. He definitely was very sad that he couldn't join us. Yeah. Next is from the MOD, because I gotta thank some people. I mean, I already said thanks to my team and they're all here, but also it's the entire team of officials and EXCO. Again, it's not a position that I can do alone. It's always everyone working with me. And I appreciate everyone's kindness and patience, because yeah, there were some times where I was a little slow, but everyone is patient with me. And also, obviously, to all the members, there is no MOD without members. So again, thank you to all. And then also, my last point, and I cannot end this presentation without thanking Tammy, because she is the reason I am in this position today. And without her guidance, I don't think I would be able to do my job that I have done right now. So thank you.
Thank you, Dan, for a wonderful presentation on the MOD update. Do we have questions for them? Seeing none, thank you once again, and we'll be moving on to the next point on the agenda, and this is the updates from the regional representatives. I believe first positions. Cherish.
Hello. Hey, guys.
Yes, Peter.
Peter, it feels nice to be number 14. While I do recognize and love our humor here, I do think we also need, for the intents and purposes of this event, to acknowledge the actual speakers. So please, Chair, you would be so kind.
Yes, our speaker is going to be Bettina Sum from IVSA Hong Kong.
Bettina Sum, IVSA China, bidding number 5. Hi everyone, so I'm going to be presenting my end of term results, basically of being the Asian Pacific regional representative this term. So first off, I would like to thank my regional team for putting in all their hard work this year for accomplishing so many new things and innovative ideas and projects. We're really lucky to have 2 of them here today. So we have Ming Xing, who's my project manager, and then we also have Nicole, who's my information officer, who's also the faculty there. So I just really want to thank everyone for all their support and help throughout this term. So first off, we'll be starting off with my internal relations. So this year we established the Translation Officer Program, which is a fairly new program for IVSA in general. As Asia Pacific has a lot of regions with non-English proficient speakers, we wanted to kind of increase the reach of our IVSA activities. So therefore we recruited members within each MO to have translators who would be able to translate our graphics, our promotional materials, as well as transcribing event recordings, so webinars, lectures, workshops, and stuff like that. And so far, this has been quite successful. We do have some materials that we have uploaded to our own shared drive for MOs to access, Asian Pacific MOs to access. And we do also have external partners who are interested in collecting these materials as well. So yeah, this is another way for us to increase engagement within the region. And then, as Ryan mentioned, we are going to have a new MO joining us this term. So you guys can take a guess, and then we'll have a big reveal sometime during the GA in a few days. And then we'll move on to projects. So the first one we did was a webinar in collaboration with IVSA SCA by Dr. Stephen, who's a professor from LSE in animal welfare. And then we had another webinar with Sharon, who is also a member of IVSA before she graduated, and she kind of shared her journey on becoming like a social media creator and veterinarian at the same time. Next, we have the JETSI project. I'm sure you guys are all quite familiar with that, given that we had a few sessions going on a few days ago. So the first one is the storytelling campaign, which is where we get professionals, veterinary professionals who are active in the industry, to share their stories and challenges regarding JETSI to kind of empower students within the region. So this project is still ongoing, and we're publishing their stories on our social media page once a week. So this really will be ongoing until the end of my term, which will be in September. And then we also have the poster awareness competition, where we have the posters at the back, and we announced the winners a few days ago. And then we also have an upcoming webinar on August 9th with IVSA Alumni Network, and also with the Americas, which is by Dr. Duncan, who's an Australian veterinarian who's working in Hong Kong, who'll be sharing conversion and accreditation type things. And if you guys are interested, you guys can scan the QR code to sign up now. I know you guys are doing this Congress thing, but it's at 6 p.m. Nepal time, so you could, I don't know, play it in the background when you guys are eating dinner or something like that. So if you guys are interested, you could scan and sign up. And then external relations. So this year has been quite a lot of external relations for the Asian Pacific region. So we've had quite a few things. So in this half term, we collaborated with the FAO RIP regional office. So first one would be the webinar from Classroom to Global Frontlines. This was a 2-hour session also in collaboration with the Australian government, as well as the Sokyun Asian Association for One Health. And then this was a 2-hour session also open to public. We had speakers from FAO, WOA, and stuff like that. This was quite successful with around 100 plus 200 participants. And then before the webinar was conducted, we had a promotional period where we had a Mythbuster series on our social media in collaboration with IVSA SCO and IVSA SCO-V. So we had these true or false Mythbuster ones, I think. And then another big milestone for us is that FAO has decided to establish a new section on their virtual learning platform, their global one actually, which will be dedicated to IVSA students. So this will be a platform where they'll be uploading event recordings and resources and materials for veterinary students, especially for IVSA members. And this will be published on their FAO global site, so not just regional, but this will be, I guess, pioneered by the Asian Pacific region, since we're currently working with them. But in the future, when there are more regions working with them, they'll also upload the materials there. And this will also be where students can connect and network with professionals and other veterinary students across the world. And then I'm also part of the React Asia Pacific Youth AMR Task Force on behalf of IVSA Asia Pacific and SCO. So currently I'm a member of the Working Group 2, which is where they're conducting capacity building and training. So this is a 2-year-long position, so I just joined this working group, so I'm sure there'll be more activities coming up in the future. Yeah, and then thanks Ika again for letting me be a part of this. And then another milestone we have is the Asian Medical Student Association International, AMSA. So earlier this term, at the start of my term, we had a One Health project series with them. And following our success with that collaboration, we decided to establish a formal collaboration with them, where we actually signed an MOU with them literally a few days ago, probably yesterday actually. And then, so this is the first ever formal collaboration Asian Pacific has. So we're looking forward to conduct more activities and collaborations with them in the upcoming term for the Asian Pacific region. And then next we have events. So I was lucky to attend the WVAC Tokyo, which is a WVA Congress in Tokyo with Tammy. So I was part of the WOA JETSI session, the One Health Education Roundtable, and we also had a student volunteering program. So the WOA JETSI session, I'm not going to talk too much about it, but we announced the comic competition winners. We shared the survey findings, which I shared briefly with you guys a few days ago as well. And we also had a panel discussion regarding JETSI challenges in the region. And then me and Tammy were on the One Health as a Core Educational Competency WVA Roundtable panel discussion. And then we also had the student volunteering program, which was hosted by IVSA Japan, where we had 16 volunteers across the Asian Pacific MOs that were able to participate in the WVA Congress as volunteers and also to join their events and activities. Yeah. Big thanks to Nikki and her IVSA Japan team for coordinating this. And it's quite successful, so we're looking to establish more of this form of collaboration with other external veterinary associations to provide these opportunities for our members, especially in the region. And then I also attended the IFMSA Asia Pacific Regional Meeting, which we'll have another presentation for that later on, so I'll just skip that. So for some space for improvement, I would like to increase more engagement for IVSA standalone activities because currently we're seeing an increased trend of participation when we do collaborate with external partners and increase accessibility, establish long-term collaborations with external partners. So signing more MOUs and formalizing collaborations since we do have one-off activities quite often with different external organizations. I'd like to establish more formal collaborations so we can have more project series and a more stable collaboration with them as well. Some key achievements that we've had this term was that we've seen increased representation of Asian Pacific IVSA members in this space, and also increased significance of IVSA members in general, where veterinary associations, so external partners, are starting to recognize IVSA Asian Pacific as a partner where we're being invited to events and activities for our members. So there are more opportunities to come, so stay tuned for that. And these are our social medias. I'd like to thank Ryan, my boss, and Omer, his little second extension, for chasing me and like making sure I send updates and things for Expo meetings, president and leader meetings. And this is our lovely MOD team from yesterday, MOMO meeting. Hope you guys had fun.
Wondering with regards to the goal for the upcoming term with regards to broadening the accessibility for non-English speakers. Considering that we are the International Veterinary Students Association and focusing on these here being able to understand each other, and we've had issues in specifically South American regions. Specifically for me, working there as part of the MOD Euro team, I had a hard time because Spanish was obviously most spoken language, and sometimes I had to refer to my lovely boss, Ms. Tabby or Katarina for the region. So with regards to this, how do we make it both more accessible to non-native speakers while also making sure that we're able to, as officials, work well within and help assisting in these countries, especially for Asia, where there's less of a singular spoken language?
Bertina-san, IVSA China, bidding number 5. So in regards to that previous speaker's question, we're definitely facing a lot of language barriers within the Asia Pacific region since there are so many languages available. So the one thing we did was to do the translation program where we have captions and stuff where people can retrospectively watch our events back and kind of have time to go through it. They can join live, but in that case where they're unable to understand in the middle of an activity, they do have something to catch up on. And for promotional materials, I think that's also another important thing where they are made aware that these materials are in their language, available in their language, so they're more willing to sign up and join the activity as well. And I definitely think it would be heavily reliant on the MO's support themselves to help us recruit people who are able to assist in the translation process for people who are not as good as English. And I think it's definitely an issue of focusing on whether or not you can get people involved in IVSA in that sense. And I think definitely having more support from the official side where you're formally making accommodations for them. So making programs where you're translating materials. And I think that would definitely be more inclusive and they'd be more comfortable in participating. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you. Do we have any other questions? Ika.
Ika Desai, IVSA India, building number 13. Thank you for the lovely presentation. I wanted to ask you if you think standing committees and networks can help the regions more, and if so, how?
Bettina Sam, IVSA China, bidding number 5. I definitely think that the standing committees can support us in the region in terms of conducting activities and events. But in terms of how they can support, I would believe that it'd be definitely more helpful if they could directly provide us with opportunities for members within that specific region. So for example, if you guys had an event for One Health in Hong Kong, for example, you could reach out to the MOs within the region and reach out to the regional representatives to promote that opportunity or accordingly. And in terms of online activities, I definitely think it would be better to collaborate with MOs directly rather than just the region, because I know that a lot of our MOs are focused on having their own individual standing committees. So for example, in India, they have Disco. Yeah, and I think that we would love their support in terms of suggesting more innovative ideas rather than just webinars or events. And we'd love the interaction amongst members within the SCO committee or standing committees and regional members as well, and to kind of gauge their interest on that and to capitalize on what their preferences are and to conduct activities accordingly. So in my term, I did an interest form at the start of the term for what members were interested in, and I would plan my regional activities based on their preferences. So if maybe you couldn't tell, we had a large interest in wildlife, so we had a lot of extra wildlife activities in comparison to some other standing committees. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Do we have any other questions for the team? Seeing none, thank you once again for that wonderful presentation. All right, next part of the agenda is the update from the Americas region representative, and that is going to be Omar since they are not present here.
Sorry, guys. I need some.
Ömer Farkaran, IVSA Turkey bidding number 31. Hello, I will be presenting the presentation of the Americas region in behalf of Catalina. Yep, Catalina, we can work that. Here is her team. It consists of secretaries, more support officers, social media managers, project managers, and external relations managers. And they have come up with quite a few of projects, including Secret Santa across the Americas region, and vision board workshops, Zumba with the IVSA, the Americas Exco, and the continuing with picture competitions, collaborating with IVSA Wien and IVSA Pathology Network, and Shape Education Project the Future, named with One Health, and the virtual web learning through simulation with a speaker from IVSA from Chile, and yeah, something Spanish. I'm sorry, I don't speak Spanish. Introduction to IVSA, something called webinar. And they also had their fifth IVSA regional symposium of the Americas. It was conducted online for 3 days. It started at the 18th of July and then continued with 25th and 26th. And they had quite a few of IVSA partner speakers from the IVSA partners, from Goa and Mustawa, and we will come to that soon as well. And they had 55 webinars during those 3 days, and it was a great place for the MOs in that region to interact with each other. It was not just conducting webinars during that regional symposium. And like I said, and they had quite a few partner participations from Wasawa and it is Goa. And they also had something called online exchange in the symposium, something similar to what we already know as the online exchange. They shared IVSA Chile shared their culture, their MO, their country, and also they had a second online exchange from one of the local chapters from IVSA Chile. And they had quite a few of attendance across the Americas region, which was quite nice to see. Also, there was quite a few different local chapters who were attending as well. And the upcoming projects for the region is a collaboration between SCOCA, alumni, and the Americas Interview Series, and alumni and regions webinars, and SCO and the Americas webinars, I believe. And the key achievement for the term was there was 2 new MOs that joined IVSA. That they paid their first membership fees, and they had a policy paper with IVSA SCO soon to be voted on. And they worked with IVSA partners such as Wasawa, Hoa, and OMSA, One Health Lessons, and WEA. And they had a 3-day regional symposium with great success. And they also collaborated with multiple standing committees and networks, and initiated the process to obtain a volunteer opportunity at an international event for members in the region. And as always, there's a lot of space for improvement. And for the Americas region, this is mainly the participation in regional activities. And they are also, as far as I know, working with Catalina, they also started to have some events and activities in Spanish, so to increase activity in the region. And I believe it's quite working well. But also this is open to discussions and opinions. But I believe it is working for the Americas region. And please follow the social media accounts of the Americas region as well as the other regions. And yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you, Ugo, for the presentation on behalf of Catalina. Do we have any questions? Seeing none, thank you. All right, the next point on the agenda, 18.4.1.3, is the update from the Europe regional representative. And that's going to be Lini.
Here in Bulgaria, I will say Greece, meeting number 21. Thank you all for being here. And today I will present what happened in Europe region for this term and what we are really excited to share with you. So first of all, I want a big shout out and an applause for my Europe team because nothing would have been done without them. And when I say nothing, I literally mean nothing because I feel really, really proud about them because many of our projects, they picked up from the first task and finished them themselves without me having to interrupt or intervene at any point. And this is really important for this kind of teams and projects because the Europe Rep, as you will see, has to handle many different things throughout the term. So it's good to know that your team has your back. So let me introduce them to you. I had Emily in external relations, and I've been member organization support officer, Bianca as project manager and regional symposium coordinator, Annette as social media content creator and coordinator, and she is here with us today, and I'm really happy about that. And then I have Lucia, my secretary, and for the opportunities and networking, it was Ayuja. So what we did this year. First of all, we started with what we thought was a problem in Europe region the past terms, and this was the engagement through social media. So we created this project about the mythbusters, like vet or animal-related information that could keep our profiles going up and people getting engaged more with our pages. And then an idea we had was the photo contest for Christmas period. So during the winter breaks, last Christmas period, we requested from members to post stories about how they're spending their holidays with their animals, and we got 3 winners. The 3 of them will get some IVSA merch as a prize. But what was most impressive, it was like right after the Christmas photo competition, we had a plus 86% in our engagement on Instagram and 30 new followers in like 2 weeks. So this was like really important and highlights how we should better control our social media platforms. And also another project we implemented this year was the partner spotlight. So you always listen words like Chakava, FE, Osava, and we never spend the time to explain to you word by word what that is. But it's important that you know. So we created this post that explained a bit about the associations we work with and how we are involved with them and why it's important that you know and engage with them. First, we continue, we handled some open calls for the ECCT representatives and free working groups and FECAVA scholarships. And this was in collaboration with MOD team, Ryan, Omer, and Tammy, because these projects include a lot of effort. They require election committee criteria, ranking the delegates. So it is a project that takes time and needs a lot of help. And that's why I wanted to also thank the MOD team and our president for it. And then we created an Instagram channel, so for all our updates and information, because we want the information to be distributed even better, other than just WhatsApp or posting on stories, we have our channel where members can see as a text everything we're posting, and it's going pretty well for like the first year, and I hope it's going to help you for the next years. And also, we were part of the organization of some webinars. So thank you for Toma for the animal welfare webinar we did together. I think it was a really insightful event. Unfortunately, I was attending another event the same day, so I couldn't be part of it, and I'm sorry for that, but our project manager was there and the engagement was high, so we're really happy about it. And one more thing I'm really, really happy is that I had the chance to work also with people outside of my region. So I want to thank IVSA Nigeria and IVSA Unimate for inviting me as a speaker in the webinar for public speaking to their delegates. It was a really insightful event, and I was really happy that all of the participants were actively involved, asking questions and improving. And at the end of the webinar, we also had the time for them to practice, so where they were given topics and make small speeches to the rest of the group. And I think it was actually really helpful that it worked as a workshop event at the end. And then a side project, because it's not Europe representatives project, but it's something I had to do this year. As it was mentioned, unfortunately the symposium in Ghana was cancelled, and we had to find a host for the officials for this event. I'm not mentioning more information because it has been said in the beginning of the GA, the first day, and will be elaborated later also about the honorary budget. But we had our meetings, some hiking in Mount Olympus, our silent auction, a bit of cultural event here, white history party, formal dinner. We tried to implement every of the official global events activities in 11 days, and it was really amazing. And then we have the regional symposium. So Europe region had for the 4th time live regional symposium, which we're really proud of. And we want to thank the Latvian OC for it, because as you have imagined, without a host, we cannot have an event. So thank you to the Latvian OC for organizing and completing these events. It was held from the 1st to 5th of May. We had 79 delegates from 16 countries. It included lectures, workshops, meetings, city tour parties. It was a full event with everyone you see here. And we were like a friend group. And here you have some more statistics about the presence. So it was really fortunate that we had about 70% of members who attended regional symposium for the first time. So that means that we engaged with them more actively. We had many students from 2nd and 1st year in vet school. So that means that the new generation is smoothly following us to continue our legacy. And here you see that we have all the participants from the countries. And one more thing I'm really proud about is that we managed to have many partners present live to give speeches and lectures, which is something that makes the students get in contact with them, helps with networking, and I want to thank all of them for it. But we're not partners, believe it. So external relations updates. With the help of Ishan and Peter, we also made our external relations sponsorship booklet. We had some service for our partners, content promotion on social media from Karina, for example, that organizes webinars, and we are responsible for promoting them. I was invited to some live events that I will talk about later today, but also I think tomorrow for the first pilot events, and new innovative projects. So as of the online meetings here, for example, you see our external relations officer was attending this meeting because again, maybe I had to be somewhere else. I don't exactly remember the reason, but that's my first point of how important it is to have a team like this. So during all the meetings, we had the chance to get in contact with the partners, learn what are the needs and what they need from our region for us to implement it later in our activities. And these are some of the live events I attended this year representing the Europe region. So for the first half, I stopped in the SGA in February. So now I will focus a bit more on the second part of the term. So I attended the GA along with the free GA in Rovaniemi in 2026, and the Green Appeal Regatta Symposium in Greece, and the Council meeting of Tekava in Potocek. But I have special presentations for them for maybe tomorrow. So key achievement, two things that are really important for the regional reps in general is to have direct contact and communication with all the member organizations. And for Europe region, this is hard, like hard, because we have 34 of them. And we have some that consist of 20 members and some that consist of 800 members. So for the first time this year, I got a chance to directly be in communication with 32 of them, like email them and text them whenever we needed them. And the 60 members portal use, I had to screen 140 members one by one on members portal for the registrations of the fourth regional symposium. It was the first time this happened, so it's an improvement and a key achievement for us. But what I'm the most proud of is the Vet4Day program under VetJoy. So as Felix had the chance to mention in the brief announcement earlier, VetJoy is an initiative with Tekava, IVSA, and FEE. And basically the goal is not only to promote our profession to the world, but also improve the conditions within our community. So it includes many topics that are not just clinical or educational, but have to do with management, with mental well-being, with all the aspects of the profession that we do not learn in school. So in the beginning of the term, we had a meeting of how to improve that. And now we are at the level that we actually had live projects happening. And the most successful one was under the Vet4Day program. So in the Vet4Day program, the vet students are supposed to get in contact with people outside of the vet community to inform them about our profession. And on this aspect, the students visited secondary schools, talked about their profession, and whoever participated in this event won a free registration for the regional symposium. So one registration was 145 euros. And we secured 23 of them to be free because of this program. So I wanted to highlight how important it is, because we try not to have barriers in inclusivity, but financial inclusivity is something that we're going to really secure, and it's something that it's practically keeping our members from participating. So I think this is like the keyest of achievements, to have so many delegates attending for free, breaking the financial barriers. Woo. Woo. So about time management and sharing of the workload, this is something that could really have been done better in my term, and that's what I will suggest to the next Europrep, because as I told you, the workload is huge. To begin with, those meetings with 34 MOs are like one-on-ones, and they take about an hour each. So 34 hours of your first month, every afternoon will be in a meeting. So it's more important to start sharing the workload early with your team, something I was not aware about. That caused me some problems at the end, so I will definitely recommend this to the next rep. Even closer communication with them all. So for the situation that I have created right now to continue next year, like even WhatsApp text to be able to have direct interaction with one another. But the documentation, again, we started this year trying to have more organized Google Drive, handover manuals, because whatever happens has to be written for the next people to see, and more interaction with the members. So I would even push for more social media content, interactive like photo competition, because it really proved that it improved our region. So nothing would have been possible without all of the people here. You see faces you know and faces you don't know, because I included all of my friends and family who were there for me, even when I was the happiest in IVSA, but even when I was the saddest in IVSA. And I'm really proud I had people to call when I was crying in the bus on the way home for some being like overwhelmed.
have questions for our Europe region representative? Seeing none, thank you once again. The chair will entertain a motion for standard ease for the duration of the WASAO presentation. New hands, come on people. Yes.
Rihanna Jacobson, IVSA Lottery, bidding number 43, I so move.
The motion on the floor is to go into standard ease for the duration of the WASAO presentation. Is there any discussion? Any objection? Seeing none, the motion passes. We are in standard ease. And Dr. Nalinika from WASAO will be presenting.
Morning, everyone. Have you guys have had a good morning today? Yes. Have you been sitting around for a long time? Yes. Can everyone just get up? Yes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to count to 3 and then say go. And I'm going to time 20 seconds. And we want to see who can do the most number of jumping jacks within the 20 seconds. If you don't have space for jumping jacks, just jump up and down. I'll count that as well. Okay, everybody ready? Not yet. Okay. You're ready? I'll make it 15 seconds. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go. Counting, I'm going to count. 5 more for 5 seconds to go. Stop. Okay, now take a deep breath and stretch out. Take a big exhale and stretch out. Okay, who got more than 15? Hey, who got more than 20? Hey, man, that's really good. Who got more than 25? Wow, hey, this is crazy. Who got more than 30? Oh, we have 2 winners in the hall. Congratulations, great job. So for 2026, again, we have a lot of new stuff happening. This is something very interesting, and if you are a practitioner, you probably saw this. If you're still a student, you probably haven't. It's called the Global State of Companion Animal Practice Report. And what it is this is data that is not currently available anywhere. No one really knows in our sector, the veterinary sector, what's happening globally in terms of how many practices there are, what different people are doing, what are the levels of practice, their involvement with, say, public service and rabies programs and things like that. So we have a pretty carefully thought out questionnaire that we've sent all over the world, and we have over 3,500 something responses to that. We are collating that data and we are creating a report that will give us a really good understanding about the state of the veterinary profession from all over the world and from all different perspectives. So that'll be something really important, and it'll be out end of this year. This is another interesting and important new thing we're doing, which is the Future Leaders Program, Future Association Leaders Program. Some of you here might actually be already part of this. And if you are not, look for this. It's basically a leadership training program for which there's a certain number that you can pay for and get, but there's also quite a few scholarships available for that. And if you do apply and get a scholarship, it involves the whole course, and it's quite an extensive detailed course on leadership, as well as an opportunity to do a in-person session at Congress. So the scholarship will give you your ticket to Congress, as well as Congress registration, as well as your boarded lodging when you are in Congress to participate in this program at the Congress that's appropriate for the year of which you're joining the program. So that's something, again, that is very interesting, and look out for that and apply for that. You all know we have dental guidelines that has been updated and refreshed for the new year. We will have a new zoonosis in dogs and cats guideline coming out in October, and that should also be another very useful tool. And these guidelines, again, are proper, like, technical guidelines, evidence-based, detailed, sort of heavy-duty guidelines. We will, over the course of the year, transform these guidelines into more usable bite-sized educational material as well. Our next Congress is in Warsaw, Poland, so any of you who can join, do join. It'll be lots of fun and lots of things happening. The education at Congress is very good, and I'll go through that a little bit on the next slide, but it's how I learned as a clinician. When I graduated, there was literally no available education for us from Asia, and I just went to Congress after Congress after Congress. They were expensive, and I found money from wherever I could, and I went, and that's just sort of how I learned medicine. That's the only opportunity I had. So the information from a purely educational point of view is really, really good. But of course, the fun stuff is there as well, and the getting to know people from all over the world, just like the IVSA. So if you have been an IVSA member and you know how important and valuable and fun that is, if you move on to Osaka, you will start seeing that same opportunity at a different level in a bigger organization. And then after that, it's India. So those of you who can't make Warsaw, which I know is expensive, visas are difficult, it's not, there are all sorts of problems with that, but for this region, Asia should be a no-brainer. I would say start saving like yesterday and make sure you are all there for the Asia Congress, because it will be a really good opportunity for those from this region to really, really experience Congress, and you may not have too many opportunities for that. So this is just again about Congress. We're working to change Congress as well, to be more relevant to what the profession is asking for today. So hopefully you will notice a lot of environmentally sustainable procedures and processes. We are trying to get more equitable access to Congress. So it's really expensive to do that, but we're really, really pushing, especially I am also really, really pushing to fundraise to get people to Congress so that we can give scholarships and opportunity and pay people for their passage and at least proper passage and housing to come to Congress. So that's something we're working really hard on. We're trying to be diverse and inclusive, which is why this career development, the Future Leaders Program, the career program, all of those things are happening. It will be fun, and we're working on much more participatory kind of learning rather than just your standard technical lectures that everybody's got used to and been sort of jaundiced about and bored with. So we're trying to be much more interactive, hands-on, and professional, and provide really more fun ways of learning for everyone. So as you know, we deeply value our partnership with IVSA. I have emphasized that over and over again. You are the future, your young leadership, commitment to education. your fellowship networks that you've already established and you can continue to develop as you go forward, creates this really shared global strengthening of our profession as a whole. And we really appreciate the foundation that you bring and the future leaders that you will bring to the profession. So thank you all for being here. And I will try to answer any questions if you have.
Thank you, Dr. Nandita, for that wonderful presentation. Do we have questions from the delegates? Susan.
You could have asked me that anytime.
Thank you, Dr. Nalika. I'm going to ask in GA because I wanted like others to know about this as well. So in past term and also I've heard that in this term we have faced an issue for IVSA members or especially IVSA alumni not being able to register for WASAVA because in WASAVA we have a system of they have to take a local membership and then they can become the part of WASAVA. But there are still few nations in which they don't have like practitioner association, and for those, if there are any opportunities or if there is any other way for them to get membership of WASAVA or not.
Okay, so that question, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, is if you are in a situation where you don't have a member association in your country, then how do you access WASAVA? That's a good question. It's also a tough one. We have thought about it, and to be honest, we don't have a really good answer for you. If you guys can come up with some suggestions, I'm very happy to take that to the board and discuss that again. The problem with it is that we really want to encourage member associations to develop in places where there are none. In fact, when we come in September to Nepal, the reason myself and Jim, who is the current president, is here in Nepal in September, is to meet colleagues from Pakistan and Bangladesh. And Bangladesh does not have a WASAVA association. So we want to get them to create one. We will handhold, we will do everything you need to create an association in your country if you don't have one. Because I know from personal experience that having an association is the very, very important first step to developing the profession in your countries. In Sri Lanka, before we had a member association, we really, really, really struggled to get education to the country, to develop our practices for all of this stuff. We really struggled. And then myself and a few colleagues got together and created an association, a tiny one. We weren't even an association, we weren't even a society. We were more like just a group. And then through that, we got WASAVA to help us become a society and then now an association. But it was just a group of vets getting together, then it was a society, and now it's a full-fledged technical association. But we'll handhold and get you there. And the problem with individuals who want to apply outside of an association is when we do that, to some extent we undermine the association. If there is an association, then the control and the interest they have in that association is undermined to some extent if a person from anywhere for any reason can just outside the association apply for all these benefits. So that's one of the issues. And if you don't have an association, still by giving you free access to everything without an association, undermines the drive to create an association. So for those reasons, we don't have too many options for people outside the system. But if you are outside the system and you want to figure out a way into it, we can talk about it and see whether we can create some opportunity. But that will be more on an individual basis kind of thing, rather than as an association. So I think you can possibly apply for committees even if you're not IVSA, as a student member or even a young professional. That's one way to step in as a non-member association person. For the committees, we prefer that you are from an association, but we don't require it. Because of course we have high-end professionals who are like senior lecturers, professors, and whoever who are not part of associations. So for committees are one way to sort of get in that door if you want.
Thank you, Dr. Nalinika. On that note, I would also like to encourage the new vets that are graduating now to maybe establish their own associations to join WASAVA. We have more questions. Peter.
Thank you, Doctor, for this wonderful presentation. Now, I am just finishing my third year now, so I have still some time to go before I graduate and become a vet. But given some of the similarities between SAVA and IVSA, if I were to strive to become part of the board or the executive committee of the SAVA, is it safe to assume that I should start, of course, joining it, but like, do you have any tips on specifically what actions or things I can partake in to strengthen my chances?
Definitely, and that's exciting news because that's exactly what I would like to see, is that you guys are aiming to join the board of BASAVA, because it is a really, really interesting place to be. It's just interesting because you get to meet people from all over the world, and also you get the opportunity to create change in the profession at a global level. So it is really exciting. And yes, I have a lot of tips. So yes, first join your member association as soon as you graduate. Well, join even before. Join the Congress as IVSA. Join committees as IVSA. You have that opportunity. So start at that level. And then join your members associations and come to as many congresses and BASAVA events as you can. I know that can be expensive, and you do have to try to figure out how you manage the finances. I know it's really hard for me to do, but I came to as many as I could. And when you come for these things, meet people, really network, meet people from other countries, meet the BASAVA reps from other countries, join these career programs that we have and other programs that we have. So you meet the senior reps, because it is an elective process. And when you have been doing that for a few years, and I don't mean like 20 or whatever, I mean, it took me a long time on average, but Julie, for example, is a very young clinician. She's maybe 5 years out of practice, and she's on the board. So we are looking for younger people. And if you interact like that and you are known, then when you go up for an election, people just know, oh, I know that person, I met them. I like them, they have potential, I would like to have them on board. And that contact globally is really, really important, because it is a vote. It's a global vote from reps all over the world. So you do really need to establish those relationships, and that's what really matters if you want to get to the board level. Because you can be really good. There are a lot of applications this time as well for the board. People who I know are really good, but they are not known in the BASAVA community. I may know them because, say, they're from Asia and I know them really well. I know they're really great and I'd love to see them on the board. But then someone in South America or Africa or North America may not know who the hell they are and just see a CV. And CVs are not enough, as we all know, for jobs or anything else. The personal contact matters. So my advice is get involved in as many places as you can and get to know people, so that when it comes to a board, they already know who you are.
Thank you, Doctor. Do we have any other questions? Felix.
So also from my side, thank you very much for the presentation and also for the partnership with IVSA. It's a very wonderful partnership, and I think it's giving us a lot of confidence in doing what we do. So thank you very much for that. I have a question about the future leadership program. I want to ask, is it open specifically for students, or can also like young, like fresh graduates, young graduates until, I don't know?
It's mainly open for fresh graduates.
Okay.
So it's primarily for fresh graduates.
Amazing, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you everyone for your questions. Dr. Nalinika is going to be around here if you have further questions. She will also provide a contact to you if you need to speak to her. And yeah.
Yes, and I really do want to emphasize, do catch up with me wherever you see me. I am open for those conversations, whatever the conversations may be, because from a work point of view, honestly, the more I understand about the different regions and the different countries and the different people and the different generations and what you want as future, it makes it my work at strategic level more effective. So I can create programs that cater to you rather than just what we think is good for the profession. So do catch up with me about anything at all, and I'd love to chat with you guys. Some of you already know that. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much. Before we resume,
Well, thank you very much. You all got a questionnaire last night, and it is part of an international survey that I started more than 10 years ago, collected more than thousands of those forms, and busy now with two students to put all the answers together, basically to find out what we don't know. And I know the answers are very simple, and I have experienced that it's a struggle to answer the simple questions, but please do before 1 o'clock. The answers and the topics will be discussed in the presentations, and you will all receive, thanks to my sponsor, this little book about caring for parrots, including topics about behavior that are applicable not just for parrots and birds, but for animals, including children. And the questions are also about other animals and children besides parrots. So please give us that questionnaire back, and I will use some of your answers during my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Doctor. The chair would like to call this meeting back to order at 11:43 a.m. Nepal time, 6th of August 2026. The next point on the agenda before we adjourn, we have two of them. We will do updates on the regional representative of MENA, and that will be Montserrat.
Hello, Benadi Monsef, IVSA Morocco, body number 16. I will be presenting you like the updates of the MENA region. So let's start with my team. As you can see, like I have a very diverse team. Mehdi and Mariam from Tunisia, Salma from Morocco, Sama and Sama from Egypt, and then White from Sudan. We worked with different MOs in our region, such as IVSA Algeria, IVSA Morocco, IVSA Egypt, IVSA Sudan, Iraq, Tunisia, Saudi Arabia, and Palestine. Concerning internal relations, we this year scheduled one-on-one meetings with the presidents at EXCO with different MOs of our region. So basically, we were discussing with them like all the problems that they have, like inside or externally, and we tried to help them like to solve this problem. And then we helped most of the MOs to have access to the members portal, as in our region is not very known. At some in our region, like they didn't even know IVSA Global and like the opportunities that can offer for them. So we in these meetings and with the members portal, they can have access to the international stage. And we added a new 8 like local chapters inside 2 MOs. So for the projects for this year, we didn't have too much projects because we were like basically focusing on dealing with all the problems. As we know, like in MENA region, a lot of countries have political problems. Some countries they have wars. Some countries they like wars ended, but like still some issues. So we didn't have that much to focus in the project, but we luckily had some projects done, like collaboration with SCAF. It was a conference about wildlife in the Gulf region. And now we have a collaboration with SCAF. It's basically a series of a video, expectation versus reality. It's still ongoing. It will be either like the end of this term or it will be in the next term. For external relations, I just want to point that I had the chance to be present in the Wuhan Global Conference on Biological Threat Reduction as representing my region. As you can see, Ishan was representing Asia, tell me Americas, Violet Europe, and John Sub-Saharan Africa. We really like this conference because we had the chance to meet a lot of people and to connect with a lot of people that help us a lot. And
Update from the Sub-Saharan Africa regional representative, and because they're not present, Omar is going to be doing it. Omar.
I'm Farkaran, IVSA Turkey, bidding number 31. Thank you. It's me again. Starting with Ekmeş Cumali Innocent. He is the regional representative for Sub-Saharan Africa region. And he also had an amazing team from all over the region. And yeah, and their projects were they organized the 5th Regional Symposium and Wednesday fun facts, and he also had one-on-ones with MO presidents, and they also had MO orientation events and activities, and they also had an event about Sub-Saharan Africa heritage, and he also had monthly WhatsApp interactive sessions and a AMR awareness week with IVSA, and also he had team recruitment activities in the region. And his and his region's key achievements were the 5th annual regional symposium, MO orientation, RT, MO president and EO meetings, promoting community engagement, collaboration with IVSF AFRO for AMR week, and more participants in regional activities. And of course, like I said, there's always space for improvements, and their main space for improvements were regarding the sponsorship, partnership, and collaboration. And they had a couple of problems with the partners continuing communication with them, so they have to. He is advising the next regional rep to focus more on being a little bit more interactive with the partners, so that they get an answer, even if it's a negative one. And also, they had some problems with publicity, and the MO presidents were not always sharing the opportunities with their members, and which he thinks that this is also one of the things that it would be good to improve. And also inclusivity, the regional rep should try and include different MO members in the team so that they can serve as an eye in the MO, thereby promoting follow the social media of the regions, and also as I say too. And thank you.
Do you have any questions for the ECWI? Yeah, Diana.
Diana Großmann, IVSA Germany, bidding number 68. About the regional symposium, was it held online or in person?
Oh, man.
Matt Parker and IVSA Turkey, bidding number 31. It was hosted as an online event.
All right, do we have any other questions? Felix.
Felix Metzger, IVSA Germany, bidding number 69. I was wondering, given that in the last term, the regional rep was interacting with them, also there was like a problem analyzed in terms of like language barrier and a wish by MOs to have more webinars, lectures, and also like parts of the regional symposium in French. So I was wondering, was this also a topic of this term, or some parts even held in French, for example, at the event, or what's the status there?
Okay. Ryan will be answering the question posed by the previous speaker.
Ryan Square, IVSA Exco, being number 72. So yes, this was something that was discussed. I am not really sure how much they got through it, but there was definitely some discussions and some webinars that would be exclusively in French.
All right, thank you for that. Do we have any other questions? Seeing none, thank you very much again, Omer, for the presentation on behalf of the ECWI. All right. Good job. The chair will now entertain a motion to adjourn for the day. New hands, people that haven't spoken. Gabriel.
Hello, Gabriel, IVSA UK, number 80. So moved. Okay.
Motion on the floor is to adjourn GA for the day. Do we have any discussion? Any objection? Seeing none, the motion passes and we are done for the day at 11:55 a.m. Nepal time. We will be going into lunch now. After that, we have the communities and networks workshops. Do we have announcements from the officials and the OC? I believe for the DAD team, please pick up your merchandise, and if you bid on something yesterday and think that you want, please go and check, collect your items and make your payments. Ignacio sitting at the back of the GA hall. Sujan.